some breaking news for you. The Home Office have been in touch about Suella Braverman's specific and explicit invitation to me to come to Rwanda. She said to the Daily Mail last night, "I invite him to come to Rwanda before he casts aspersions on this beautiful, welcoming country." There are two problems with that statement from the actual Home Secretary. The first is that I haven't cast any aspersions upon Rwanda itself, although I, of course, reserve the right to do so. Better qualified people than me are pointing out all manner of problems with the country's recent history and current regime. But I did cast aspersions upon her, the same aspersions upon her legislation designed to deny people a modern slavery defence in the context of asylum seeking. They're precisely the same concerns articulated by someone called Theresa May in the House of Commons last week. So she is, and I think I can say this with a degree of comfort and confidence, Suella Braverman is deliberately misleading voters with the express assistance of the Daily Mail newspaper. I categorically did not cast well, I'll tell you exactly what I said. I shared a photograph of Suella Braverman cackling dementedly in Rwanda and wrote, exactly 200 years after William Wilberforce founded the Anti-Slavery Society, here's Suella Braverman at a facility to which she hopes to deport trafficked victims of modern slavery. How is that casting aspersions on Rwanda? I may take calls on this, so I'm giving you a heads up. I may take calls on this in the final hour of the programme. How is me pointing out that Theresa May was right when she pointed out the modern slavery elements of the illegal immigration bill would essentially deny people protection from being trafficked in that way? How is that casting aspersions on Rwanda? And then after some people pretended to be outraged that the original photograph featured other people, so Suella Braverman is cackling dementedly while three other people look on in a slightly bemused way, I shared that photograph as well. Two other people look on in a slightly bemused way. Then it turns out there's another photograph. So the Daily Mail have cropped. While accusing me of cropping the photograph, the Daily Mail have actually cropped the photograph themselves that they hold up as the original photograph. So the original photograph features four people. Three of them are smiling in a slightly bemused way, and one of whom is cackling dementedly. The original photograph that I shared had been cut in the way that newspapers always cut photographs to feature the person responsible for the policy I was describing. But as I explained to you last week, this is all about whipping up anger and ignorance. So lots of people then pretend to be outraged. I think I was deliberately... So here's the thing. In order for that to have been a conscious attempt at deception by me, you would have to believe that Suella Braverman was photographed alone by a photographer while cackling dementedly at nothing in particular, so sort of nothing specific. So this apparently is what people thought was being conveyed. So Suella Braverman standing alone in the middle of Africa, cackling dementedly in a camp to which she is intending to ship, against their will, bona fide asylum seekers and quite possibly victims of people trafficking and modern slavery. So I guess maybe people thought I was suggesting she'd just stand there thinking about all those poor souls being treated abominably, and then she'd laugh her head off. But I certainly wouldn't have considered that a possibility myself. It seems fairly obvious that if someone's photographed laughing, they're going to be laughing at something that is happening around them. But on a trip like that, I would have thought that demented cackling was probably off limits. In fact, if I were to advise the Home Secretary, I would say that if you don't want to be photographed cackling dementedly at a refugee facility to which you are preparing potentially to send victims of people trafficking and modern slavery, Theresa May has explained that bit of this contention. If you are keen not to be photographed cackling dementedly at a refugee facility, my advice would be not to cackle dementedly at a refugee facility. And you know, if you can't control the photographers who you've only invited because you expect them to provide friendly coverage and borderline propaganda puff pieces, if you can't be confident that you won't be able to insist that they take the films out of their cameras or delete the digital images, then it's even more important to follow my advice. And again, I would say that if you don't want to be photographed cackling dementedly at a refugee facility, then don't cackle dementedly at a refugee facility. So I get the invitation. We can be pretty clear about the language here, can't we? I don't think anyone is... I invite him, that's me, James O'Brien, hello. I invite him to come to Rwanda before he casts aspersions on this beautiful, welcoming country. So somebody called, wait for it, David Barrett, the Home Affairs editor at the Daily Mail, has gone all the way to Kigali and been told to write an article about a tweet I wrote in bed on Sunday morning in West London. What do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, that is incredible. But now we're trying to pin down the details of the invitation because I'm very keen at least to consider becoming the first journalist to accompany Suella Braverman to Rwanda that hasn't been handpicked to provide fluffy and positive coverage. So we're just trying to pin down the Home Office on the precise details of this invitation. I have nothing but sympathy for the poor souls in the press office who have to mop up after a Home Secretary as verbally incontinent as this. But remember, she was just doing the quid pro quo with the Daily Mail. There's no point inviting these people on a trip and schlepping all the way to Rwanda unless they're going to be able to get a little bit of cultural stuff in their newspaper the next day. So I have nothing but sympathy for the press office fielding these inquiries, but I am very keen today to pin down exactly the nature of this invitation. Keith, do you fancy it? Yeah, you sure? It's not like a Club 1830, mate. It's not. I mean, okay. It's not Kavos. It's Kigali. We'll have a look.